Hello. Happy Wine Wednesday.
Good evening, good late afternoon. Welcome everyone for another amazing week of wine content. A lot of fun, a lot of talk, a lot of things to talk about. So thanks for joining us, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members. Here we are, Wine Wednesday. See, Mira Boucher, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm still reeling from the experience we had this afternoon. We went
Yeah,
we went out for an unassuming lunch at Time Winery in Penticton, and it turned into one of the most fun, amazing experiences we've had since we moved to the Okanagan, hey?
it was absolutely fantastic. I had definitely had the best burger that I had since we moved into to the Okanagan. Definitely, that it's a no-brainer.
That
So
is
we had a great lunch, a great wine tasting, fantastic wine experience. Kudos to Robbie at Times Winery. Great, like the notes were great. He knows his stuff. The wines was fantastic. So a lot of great thing happened here at Times Winery, located in Penticton. So there was we were there like what? We were just decided to go just to swing with a little lunch by, say hi to Kimberly and the team, and it ended
well,
up by being
this is the interesting thing in the Okanagan. I don't know if it's like this in Niagara, but it certainly has been since we moved to the Okanagan. In the summer, it like everything's open. There's so many options of where you can go, and in the winter, there's not very many options, especially with food. A lot of places close, especially January, February. So we were excited that they were open and we could go have some wine and food, and it was totally lived up to my expectations. Actually blew them away. It was awesome.
yeah, and the dessert you had. Holy crap, that was good.
I wish I
Holy
had the
yeah.
pictures. They were, yeah, it was like a lemon meringue dessert with whipped what was that, marshmallows that were
Yeah,
like
but it was the meringue. It was a kind of a deconstructed lemon meringue pie.
yeah.
So yeah, literally that's what it was. It was a deconstructed lemon meringue pie. But geez,
Oh,
holy shit, it was good. Yeah.
and then what
Some
did we end up
highlights.
doing?
Eh?
We ended up buying ourselves an early Valentine's present, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, if we had to call it one way. But
This is like
before
a
we
baby
show
gift.
everything, just give me 1 second here. Okay? Yeah. So yes, size does matter, is what I heard. So but it was a big one. A, a little back vintage here. Big bottle. Yeah, a Jeroboam, a 3 liters of. Come on, slide that up. Show it to everyone while people
This is
are
pretty cool.
watching.
So Syrah Day is coming up February 16th, 2 Wednesdays ahead of us. And I guess we had Syrah on the mind because they had some double magnums there. And I said, Carl, we should get a double magnum. And
Yeah, double Magnum Jeroboam here, 2000 of 2014.
it's a 2014 Syrah.
Yeah.
Very excited about this one. It says they're only 24 bottled for this size.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, size does matters.
This one is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So, yeah, we'll say a little hi in French to all of our people. So, un beau bonjour en français à tous les amateurs de vin canadien, à tout le monde qui se joint à nous ce soir. Un bon mercredi. On espère que tout le monde passe une belle semaine. Ce soir, on a des grosses nouvelles à vous annoncer en français. On va parler de notre voyage en Ontario. On a booké nos billets d'avion pour Niagara. Donc, ça se passe, c'est décidé, c'est sûr, c'est dans le livre. Sur le party de Carl's Wine Club à Niagara a été cédulé pour le 24 juin. Donc on va jaser de ça. On est en train de jaser un petit peu de notre expérience ce matin. Un gros bonjour à ma maman. Hey, mom! Un beau bonsoir. Bonsoir à toute notre gang de la région des Bois-Francs, Victoriaville. la gang de l'Estrie, les gens du Saguenay, la belle région de Québec, Jean-Denis, et maintenant, c'est joint à nous, Jean-Denis de Neuchâtel, notre gang aussi de la rive sud de Québec. Tout le monde en français, un beau bonjour aux amateurs de vin francophones, les gens du nord de l'Ontario, les gens de l'extérieur de Winnipeg, du Nouveau-Brunswick, partout en français, un beau bonjour, merci de faire partie de ce qu'on fait. On essaie d'en faire de plus en plus en français. Donc, bon mercredi soir, on va parler des vins de Times Winery un petit peu parce on était là pour le lunch aujourd'hui. Je pense que vous avez vu un petit peu la bouteille que Mira est en train de monter, la belle grosse bouteille. Un 3 litres de Syrah 2014. On va parler de Syrah. There you go. Merci, Mira, parce que la bouteille est bien grosse. There you go. Le nouveau bébé à Mira. Hein? Ensuite, on va jaser de Flat Rock, parce que c'est pour ça qu'on est là aujourd'hui. La semaine de Flat Rock, des vins fantastiques de la région du Niagara, des vins de Pinot Noir 2 fois, des vins de Riesling 2 fois, des vins de Chardonnay 2 fois. C'est un beau 6-pack, 2 Pinot, 2 Riesling, 2 Chardonnay, mais pas les mêmes, un Pinot différent, 2 Pinots différents, 2 Chardonnay différents, 2 Riesling différents. Donc, un super coffret de dégustation. On va jaser des vins. Ensuite, on va jaser de Niagara, puis on va parler un petit peu de Syrah. On va peut-être un petit peu parler de Moraine Winery, qui est situé sur le Naramata Bench. Donc, merci en français de vous joindre à nous. Back to you, Mira, in English.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a sip? Did you have a sip?
I didn't. So this is a very special wine. Look at this wine.
Yeah, and Karen Chapman. Karen is on tonight. So Karen, look what they just disgorged.
So
Karen,
this
put
is
it,
not
put
a
in the chat.
released wine. This wine has not been released, but last, 1 or 2 weeks ago, we were driving by Black Market Winery, and they were bottling their Magnums. So you can see the Magnum's in the middle. What we got here is a double Magnum. Okay, it's that bigger one. And then that little one is what they usually have. So they were bottling, and then Rob said, here, you guys take this home with you. It's not labeled, it's not released, it's not disgorged. But basically is that bottle you see there he gave us, which was sitting with the lees, with the yeast, the dead yeast still gathering. You can see how it's gathering in the middle there. And it had been like that for many months, I think, since they bottled it, like 6 months, 7 months. Yeah, so you can still see a little bit of that left in there because Carl disgorged it. He let some of it come out and it popped up the lees. The winery will do that for you with this one. So, because it's messy a little bit. But we get to taste it like this, which is so exciting because we had one last year at this time in Calgary. And it was so lively and juicy and amazing.
But what's great right now, it's a different kind of grape because this is the Pet Nat, the Pétillant Naturel. So the Pet Nat last year with Black Market, it was 100% Syrah. This year we have 100% Cabernet Franc. So Jean-Denis, I know you're curious. So on a un Pétillant Naturel de Cabernet Franc, ce que je viens juste de dégorger, the Black Market Wine Company. So yeah, this is from Black Market Wine Company, a Pet Nat, 100% Cap Franc. So there you go. So Karen is just mentioning here, Karen works with Rob at Black Market, and they are going to riddle these disgorge these bottles for us, getting the lees out in the next couple of weeks so we can hit the market with these, so we can send the offer over to you guys. Last year we did
there's not a lot of these.
No, there's just a little bit more than what they had this Syrah last year, but yeah, no, there's not going to be a whole lot of that.
Yeah, this is a sort of a fun thing Rob started last vintage, I think. This is the second one he did. And they sold out like very quickly because there's how many cases? Like just a few dozen cases. It's not a lot.
Yeah, last year I think there was something like 35 cases or 40 cases, something like that. It doesn't help when Carl's Wine Club get his hand on the first time, and our members went absolutely bonkers with the Syrah pack. So that's
this
good.
is awesome. There's still some of the leaves, but they've settled in my glass. So
yeah, I know.
I bet that's why wine glasses have this little dip there, don't they?
Oh, for Gabriel, absolutely. Absolutely. It is what it is for Gabriel.
Because it's keeping the sediment there. It's not shifting around. So it's kind of nice. It is so lively and so much fun. Holy cow.
It's like white chocolate. There's some strawberries, chocolate dipped strawberries. I like that. It is really, really good. Lively. It is lively. It's fresh. That's the bright, fantastic acidity.
Yeah. It's super fun.
That is fun. I really like that. So we had an interesting evening last night. Great wine conversation. I don't know how many of you tuned in for our interview with Alison Finley, winemaker. There you go. That I had Alison for an hour. We chatted Flat Rock Cellars wine. It was awesome. Getting to know her. I like getting to know her background a little bit, her winemaking style, well, how it is to work with Dave Shepard, one of the winemaking legend in Ontario, and all of that. So that was great chat. I really enjoyed when she described the Gravity Flow winery that they built and all that. But also really, really enjoyed her talking, especially when we get talking about the Rieslings. And she started to talk about precision of the Niagara vineyard and all of that. And I was like, yes, I really, really, really understood the whole purpose of the wine and all that, because that's exactly what I got when I tasted these wines. So that was pretty cool. So yeah. And today, funny enough, because today we talked with Alison last night. We're featuring Flat Rock this week. And today we're going for our lunch at Times Winery in Penticton, and Kimberly Undermark, she's the hospitality manager at Times. She's from Ontario. Robbie Undermark, he's the tasting room manager. He studied in Ontario. He did all of his time in Ontario and all that. So he grew up in the Ontario wine business, and they obviously know the Madronich family. They know Alison and Dave Shepard, who taught Jeff Undermark, Kim's husband, and anyway, the whole circle.
He's a winemaker at Bouchers. Yeah, so very small world, this winemaking world.
Big country, small world. So
totally. So let's talk about wine shapes. So this is cool. This is the owner of Flat Rock, Ed, and then his dad, whose name is also Ed Senior, I think. And then his mom, Nadja. So the Riesling vineyard is named after his mom, Nadja's vineyard, right? And the first time we tasted these wines, Carl and I, it was a great experience for me because Carl often talks about, oh, this wine has precision. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Precision for what, right? And we tasted the Nadja's Vineyard Riesling. And then we tasted, oh, hey, Sam. And then we tasted their regular Riesling side by side. Both really great. One around the $20 mark and the other around, I think, the $30, $35 mark. And I love them both, but I totally understood what Carl means now about precision, because the regular Riesling was sort of like this is the shape, okay? It was like in my mouth. It was like,
that's what I call the roundness, like round and approachable, and like something like, even that sometimes I will use the word fluffy, right?
Yeah, so it was like just that's the shape. If I had to describe the shape of the wine in my mouth, it was like, right? And then the other one, the Najas Vineyard, it was like, it was like it just takes you to a really specific flavor and place, and it was just like, so I understood
Yeah.
what you mean by precision now.
And then when you asked, that's funny because when you asked me that question, I knew exactly. I said, wait a minute. And bringing these two bottles side by side, and to me, that was the best descriptive with precision, focus, linearity, or whatever you can call it. But I thought it was just so easy to understand to have, especially with Riesling. I think it shows that very, very, very well. So yeah, so Naja's Vineyard, really, really special and unique. I gave it a 92 points. I had so much fun discovering the minerality, that limestone terroir of Niagara just shows so beautifully in that wine, like zesty, like I said, precise, laser focused type of wine. It's worth every single penny of that $34. That's for sure. So yeah, if you're with us tonight, welcome to the show. 525 here on the West Coast. Let us know where you're tuning in from and what's in your glass. Tonight, we have popped something pretty cool here. So yeah, that's what we're
Newly
having here.
disgorged Pet Nat.
So here you go. We have Katharina Clark here from Newfoundland. So Katharina, yeah. Sam, our friend Sam Hawk here on the east side of Kelowna. So Sam, good evening. Hope you're doing well, my friend. It's nice to have you on. The nose of that Pet Nat is really, special. Really, really cool.
So what's cool about this too, the Pet Nat, Pétillant Naturel, like he doesn't add anything. So they call it nothing to declare. And let me see if I can get a picture of it because it is so original. They actually, so the winery owners, Rob and Michelle has been a flight attendant for a long time. So they actually made sort of one of those customs clearance tags for it, for the wine. And it said like nothing to declare because there's nothing in it. Maybe a teeny bit of sulfur at the end, right, Carl? Just as they're bottling it.
I don't even think so.
Maybe not even that. I don't know.
Not even that. I think it's. I'm not sure how they're going to. I don't think so. I even think it's going to be a nothing at all because they're going to disgorge it. They're going to get the lees out of there. They're going to top it up with some of the Cap Franc rosé that they have, and that's it. Like it's a crown cap lid's going to go on top of it, and let's call it a day. And that's why this wine in particular has to be consumed, I would say, in the following 6 to 8 months. And we experienced that when we got the nothing to declare Syrah. We had an extra bottle that we saved, and when we opened it, almost a year, like because we opened it during the Christmas season, and it was missing that snap. It was missing that sharpness that you're looking for a Pet Nat. So.
Yeah,
and answer coming from the winery. That's nothing. I know. I love it here. We have people tuning in from Ontario, from Newfoundland, from Kelowna. People from the wineries are tuning in. If we don't have the correct information, we have it live here. It's getting serious. That's Wine Network right here just for you. This is pretty cool. I love it.
Look, I got a picture of it. I got a picture of what the label looked like.
There you go.
Isn't that fun?
It is fun. It is fun. This is marketing. This is branding, like 101. They absolutely nailed it. And even like with like the hoodie, right? Like we got one because it's just like so bold, so right there.
The logo is amazing. This is what we saw as they were before these were riddled. So that's basically what we're drinking now, although we took some of those lees out of it before we drank it. And yeah, very, very, very cool. I'm super excited once that hits the market. And will be gone in a flash, I'm sure. Amazing. It reminds me of summer, which is just around the corner. We keep telling ourselves. Who is stuck in a blizzard tonight? I hear there's some huge blizzard over Ontario. My apologies for that, you Canadian wine lovers out there.
Yeah, because it's starting. Like I believe it started around 3 o'clock Ontario time today. They're big snowstorm number 2 of the season for them. They're getting hit hard, 40 centimeter tonight. So I won't be surprised to see a bunch of wineries closed tomorrow. Even after the reopening, they're getting out on the other side of another COVID lockdown, starting to ramp thing up. But I think Mother Nature have decided to give them another day or two of break. So yeah, cheers to our people in Ontario.
Yeah.
And
Stay
yeah,
safe.
hope you're staying warm tonight, because a lot of snow coming your way. And here, West Kelowna, we had the snow starting all over again, though. We haven't had a snow in a little while, so yeah, we're into it as well. So let's get back to our Flat Rock. Flat Rock
So
Cellar feature.
we just talked about the Rieslings, which were both fantastic. I didn't know this, but Steven Spurrier from Decanter, before he passed away, visited there, and he said, if I had to pick a Riesling, Chard, or Pinot Noir from Niagara, I'd pick Flat Rock. He loved those wines. And then there's also a fun story about their Chards, right? Because this is what they do, is Riesling, Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay.
Yeah, they're working with only 3 different type of grapes outside of their Explore program, but it's very, very minuscule. I think as a winery, as wine people, winemaker, you always want to keep your skills sharp and keep your some little a side project on the side. I would believe that every single wineries have this little project going on the side, so they have that. But they work with 3 different type of grapes. They work with Pinot Noir, Rieslings, and Chardonnays, and this is for a very specific reason. Is because the founder, Ed.
There's Ed.
Ed and Ed, so Ed Senior and Ed Junior, truly believe from the beginning that the 20 Valley have the potential to make some of the best Pinots, Chardonnays, and Rieslings in the world. They believe in the potential for these 3 very specific grape varietal. Well, I don't say that like there's no other potential for others, but this is their belief. And I love when people believe something and go for it. You know, there's no half measure, there's no halfway in between. They believe from the beginning that these 3 type of grapes would be their bread and butter. This is what they're going after because they believe that's what's the best for where they are. And so on the 20 Mile Bench, they are located in a beautiful spot right near, right on the escarpment. And there you go, boom. So they're working with Pinot, and they make 2 different Pinot. But you want to talk about the Chardonnay? So 2 different Chardonnay: the Rusty Shed Chardonnay and their unoaked Chardonnay. 2 very, just like the Riesling, a single vineyard and a more approachable version of the grape. So there's a great story behind the Rusty Shed. Not only a great story behind the Rusty Shed, but also great ratings, great reviews by many wine critics from all over the country. I've seen some of like all the way up to 94 points. I gave it a 91 plus personally, but you know, like Rusty Shed's getting great reviews, great scores all over the country by many wine writers, wine critics. So I think Mira's going to find a little picture here that she's looking for. There you go.
They bought the property in 1999. I mean, they had a dream to buy and have a vineyard and a winery in the family in 1954. And the dream got crushed. They couldn't get a winery license in 1954. So it ended up being that guy's son and grandson who bought the property in 99. And it had this horrendously they thought, ugly old shed in the middle of one of the vineyards that they planted. And it was this big old rusty shed. And so one day, Ed Sr. says to Ed Jr., hey, I want you to do something about that shed. Paint it, tear it down, do something. It looks terrible right in the middle.
We're going to build one of the most beautiful winery in the country. Get rid of that ugly shit on the middle of the vineyard. Do something about that. This is your project, you kid. So I'm not putting that much on your plate right now, but fix that shed. And so Ed Jr. at that point was going to business school. And so Ed was right in at business school, and what he saw on that shed, it didn't see the same thing from his young eyes. Didn't see the same ugly, disruptive piece of crap from the senior's eyes. He was like, no, I think he saw marketing opportunity right in there. He saw that he can build something around that. He could build history. So.
Yeah, very cool. So they ended up keeping it and naming the Chardonnay the Rusty Shed Chardonnay.
Yeah, exactly. They planted Chardonnay around that.
Yeah, so I thought that's a great story. And the vines, all their vines are about 20, 22 years old now, which is a great age for vines to be producing more and more concentrated wine, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They're in their prime. They're in their prime in terms of capacity. They're in their prime in terms of quality. They're in their prime in terms of like everything. Like right now, these vineyards are absolutely like pounding great grapes. So, so that's why we're seeing a very good amount of wines coming out of these vineyards right now. I think they are cropping at 5 tons an acre. So the vineyards are telling. The vineyards are speaking. Just like they are full of energy, so they want to produce, and so that's why we're seeing 2 different programs here. And the Rusty Shed is the premium expression of that vineyard, of the terroir, of the escarpment. And this is absolutely spectacular. I like the way that Allison does not interfere with the grape of Chardonnay. She let the Chardonnay speak, and she give the oak a little bit of that, like bring that oak toast profile in the wine, but nothing to take over. So it's well balanced. I still can find like that. And that's fun because what I found with the Rusty Shed, it's that middle in between the yellow apple, a little bit of citrus to keep that zing, but some melon as well. And that the toasty note comes up after the mid palate and linger for a pretty interesting amount of time. So I like the complexity of the Rusty Shed. And when you move on the other side, you get that $18.99 bottles, like under $20 of an unoaked Chardonnay.
Including tax.
And this one just like sing the Chardonnay song. This is the absolute easy drinking, full-on tropical, no oak at all. Harvested a little earlier to preserve the freshness. And yeah, this is the Chardonnay song to me, like singing out and loud. And there's gonna be like that 2019, the 2020 that we have. It speak for the 2020 vintage. Like Allison was saying, oh my God, if I had 2020 every vintage, I would have way less white hair. I would have way less headache. This was the vintage for the ages. This was the easiest vintage that in her personally in her career I've never had a chance to work with. And for a wine like the unoaked Chardonnay, where she just had to let the grapes speak for what they want to express from that vintage on. And she said, like, yeah, and when I taste it, that's exactly what's in my note. It speak 2020. It speak tropical. It speak warm. It speak richness. It speak expression. So that 2020 for under $20 of us on Oak Chardonnay, it was absolutely great. I think she left it on the lease for something like 7 months. So there's a nice creamy texture. So great representation of two style of Chardonnay. So, and we had not the debate, but we bounced back and forth, Mira and I, on that Chardonnay, these two Chardonnay for what, 3-4 days? Because
Yeah.
that's the beauty with these twist cap. Everything is twist cap. It's going to lead to our next conversation.
Right.
That's what the segue we wanted to talk about. But so for 3 or 4 nights in a row, we were revisiting these two Chardonnay. And like, which one did you like the most at the end?
I think I like the oaked.
So you like, I say it's exactly it. So you really like the rusty shed. To me, I was just so impressed with the purity of the unplugged. That little under $20.
It all depends on what you're drinking it for, right? Like if it's a hot day, I think I would go for the unoaked one. You know, if I'm having dinner, I think I'd go with the more one with oak. I don't know. They were both great.
Yeah, and we're just like a couple weeks removed, about 1 week removed from our Tinhorn Creek offer.
Mm-hmm.
And
first in the Okanagan, at least, to do.
No, they were the first in the country. They were the first in the country to go twist cap across the board. And many people back in the mid 2000 till early 2000 told Sandra Oldfield that she was absolutely crazy. What are you doing, going all in on twist cap? Like, we're not even sure of like the micro-oxidation and all of the benefit. What if she went all in on twist cap? And we saw the benefit, how well preserved the Tinhorn 06, 04, 08 were with our pack last week. How the freshness shows in these wines. And she was bang on. By the way, should we tell people?
Oh, yes. Sandra Oldfield has agreed to do a Cellar Confidential with us next Thursday, I believe.
Next Thursday, we're going to go on for an hour chatting with Sandra Oldfield, one of the, I would say, what is the wine legend in in the Okanagan? She was one of the builders. She built the foundation. She built the tradition. She built many things. She's still involved in many different aspects of the business, in many different ways. But yeah, we're gonna have the privilege to sit down for an hour chatting with Sandra in a week. So I'm pretty excited. So yeah, so Sandra was the first one in Western Canada to introduce 100% twist cap, and guess what?
Flat Rock
were the first one to go all in on twist cap in Ontario. But that was a little caveat on there. There's a little problem. The problem of going 100% twist cap for Flat Rock was Grandma.
Well, Ed's mom.
Ed's mom. Tell the story, Mira. I think it's
this lady here. She said, "But Ed, I really like the romance of the cork." And they were making their first sparkling wine in the early 2000s that they still make, the twisted. They make the twisted sparkling, but their first sparkling wine was not the twisted. It was something else. But she said, please just do a small run of those bottles with a cork instead of one of these pop off.
This the crown cap, we call it.
The crown cap, yeah. So he did, and it turned out to be a really amazing natural experiment. Almost like 16, 20 years later, they ended up opening both and seeing how they aged. And they had a whole bunch of wine experts and critics in the room. And it was fairly unanimous that the one that was under cork was way more oxidized, less lively. and didn't have as much length or aromas. And then the one under the crown cap was super lively, had tons of flavor left, was juicy. And so they all sort of favored the crown cap, which is crazy, but super cool.
Exactly. But yeah, Ed went all in on the screw cap, and that's what they do. Like they do even like if you talk about like the premium line, the single vineyard, all of that, twist cap, entry level, twist cap across the board. And you know what? I was talking to Rob today, Robbie. So Robbie is studied a lot of the wine business in Ontario, and it was saying that one of the bottling who changed his perception on Canadian wine, what absolutely made it wanting to study more, was the 2013 Rusty Shed Chardonnay, and there was a big turnaround in his wine career, and he said that like now going back into the older vintage of Flat Rock, it's like it shows the freshness. Every time they have a library release, they go and get some more. And because the freshness of these older vintage showcase so much of the purity of the terroir. So another proof of the long-term potential of twist cap. So there you go. So they were visionary there, and now Flat Rock is 100% going for it.
Yeah. And so I don't know how many years back, Ed, the owner of Flat Rock, went and did a little 1 or 2 minute video on YouTube. And he said, kind of debunked all the myths around twist caps and corks. And then he said, the main thing that people hold on to with the corks that you can't really dispute is they say, oh, but the corks are so much more romantic. You got to untwist it. You got to open it up. It's so much more romantic. And he said, if opening a bottle of wine,
I know that's the best.
Cork is your version of romance, you got bigger issues. So he said,
if you're lacking romance because you don't have the cork to take, you have a bigger issue. But
yeah.
Hey, Lisa. So Lisa's joining us here from Calgary. She's heading to hockey tonight, so there's no wine. Lisa, I thought of you because you are a Cabernet Franc fanatic. You love Cab Franc on any way, shape, or form. So this wine that I popped tonight, Lisa, you're gonna love it. This is one of the purest expression of Cab Franc. This is a pet nat. This just disgorged on my patio. So yeah, I thought of you. I'll keep you posted. Nothing to declare. Cabernet Franc, pet nat.
From Black Market.
From Black Market. Pretty darn cool. Pretty darn good. So
except we're having the version that has not been riddled yet. So
yeah. So we talked about the Chards. We talked about the Rieslings, and now let's touch base on the Pinots, because again, when I was doing my old research on the whole Flat Rock before I got the sample a couple months ago, I was looking at the Gravity. The Gravity Pinot Noir is a known Pinot in Niagara. People from the wine industry, wine lover, Pinot lovers, all know the Gravity Pinot Noir, from Flat Rock. So I got excited. I read like multiple reviews from different vintages. Same thing than Rusty Shed, like all the way up to 94 points. Like this is well regarded as a wine. So I got really intrigued. We got the 2019 here, Gravity. This a snapshot. This is a representation of the Niagara terroir. This is earthy. It's mineral. It's tobacco. It's cedar. It's a little bit of a burgundy in the bottle. It is. Sometimes we tend to give a different origin of the wine, and this one, I'd say appropriately, And I asked Allison yesterday what she thought of that conference. She's like, hey, this is unmistaken. Like, this is not, yeah, she's not shying away because this is a Burgundy style Pinot Noir. Obviously with that bright, shining Niagara acidity, that beautiful minerality. So yeah, a beautiful success. I love that 2019 Gravity. And when, again, we had that debate a couple nights in a row, Mira, right? With the Foundation series, which they just rebranded, by the way. And I love the rebranding of the Foundation series. Like. Yeah, the new label looks freaking sharp, looking pretty great. So that's the 20.
Those are images of the rocks and the soil at a microscopic level, I think.
I would like to show you my bottle, but that bottle got smashed in million pieces 5-6 days ago while my my light my light in my office fell on the bottles, and this one was the
victim.
The victim of a monumental crash in the office. So this one's dead. But yeah,
we already drank it. It was just sitting there so we could show you guys the bottle. But
I still had a third of it, just that I tried to experience every night with the twist cap, seeing until when it can go.
Yeah,
and to be honest,
some of these twist caps last like a week after you open it. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. That Gravity, I still had a little bit yesterday. Now they were on the downslope for sure. The Gravity was dead. But anyhow, so that's funny to talk because that Foundation series Pinot Noir, when you taste Gravity, I'll tell you, Gravity is like old world, Burgundy, minerality, like lots of earthiness. And talking with Allison, and I started my interview with Allison, I wanted to know more about her. I wanted to know more about her background. How did she get into winemaking? And Allison, she went from Dryden, Ontario, all the way. She went for a wine trip in Niagara because she had a friend who was celebrating a birthday. And they went to Niagara. She had a couple wine tastings. She fell in love with wine tasting, and she got really intrigued about how they make the wine. And for her, the conjunction between art, science, and intuition was really, really intriguing to her. So long story short, she right away applied to the Niagara College for winemaking because it became an obsession for her. And after the college, she went like many students in Canada, because down in the southern hemisphere, Australia, it's a Commonwealth country. It's easy to go for a couple months. The seasons are backwards. So while we're in our off season, they're going into winemaking. So she went to spend 7 months in Australia in Clare Valley. Anyway, she spent some time there. On her way back, she went to Oregon, Pacific Northwest, completely different style. When I tasted that Foundation series, that $22 Pinot Noir, before I knew that Allison spent time in Oregon, my first take was, okay, this is Pacific Northwest type of Pinot. Like if you had blind taste me with this Foundation series, I would have told you Oregon Pinot. It was my first take. Like if I have to close my eyes, take the label off, just pour me a splash of that, it was Oregon Pinot for me.
This is one of Carl's party tricks, by the way. He has kind of this super power nose and palate. Take him to a party and blind taste him on something, and like I'd say about 80-90% of the time he can get the varietal, the location, and maybe even the vintage right. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. But anyway, so and Allison started to laugh because, yeah, it's part of her, like after when she came back from Clare Valley, Australia, she went to Oregon and she learned a lot about how to work with the Pinots in Oregon. So here we go. There's her style of Pinot right there. This is the 2020 vintage. Again, we're talking about that juicy, extracted, well-balanced. So this is a fun wine. So talking about the Foundation series, $22. You got here the Gravity, the serious dinner, sit down, white tablecloth, or a full meal where you want to pull a good bottles, you got it with gravity, and a nice midweek Pinot Noir, easy drinking, or you got what you're looking for with the Foundation series. Value-wise, it's fantastic. So, and I think that's what really attracted me with the Flat Rock feature. We had everything in that pack. We had the serious wine versus the value wine with the same grape. So the 1-2 punch on each varietal, I was really attracted to that and offering the member that experience. A serious Pinot, a value Pinot, a serious Chard, a easy drinking, well priced, under $20 Chard, and same for the Riesling, that laser focused, classic Ontario single vineyard Riesling versus that round, easier drinking style of Riesling from Niagara. So yeah, this is
very interesting.
This is the Flat Rock in a nutshell. Also, because we love to give different options to our member, we have that 6-pack, but also we have 3 bonus option. And the bonus option is the Twisted Sparkling, because you know why? When I asked a couple months ago on social media, anything you know about Flat Rock, what's your impression? Twisted came out really like, oh, Twisted is my favorite summer wine, easy drinking. We love the Twisted. So we brought the Twisted Sparkling, and came from Jacob, who is the business development manager. He said, Carl, there's something I would like to introduce to your people. It is the Explorer label. I was like, what's the Explorer label? Oh, he said, we're working with Sauvignon Blanc and Gamay as well. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought you guys were working with only 3 different type of grapes. He said, yeah, but guess what? We're not sitting here and just geeking out on three different grape varietals. We always keep our eye open. And there's a plot. There's a, I think it's 1.5 acres, or I'm not sure, maybe a little bit more, maybe 2 or 3 acres, vineyard where they to do some replanting, and they look around which kind of grape varietal they would like to maybe explore the opportunity of working with. And Gamay, because of how they can sustain the cold and how hardy it is with winter. So they saw a lot of potential maybe to work with Gamay. So they sourced some Gamay from a producer, a grower nearby. They bought a small amount just for Allison to start to play with, to see how she would fare with Gamay. And this is the first version of Gamay work at Flat Rock. So something pretty cool, pretty intriguing. And same thing with Sauvignon Blanc, because Sauvignon Blanc has a shitload of potential in Niagara. More and more, we're seeing some vineyard planting get ripped off and putting some Sauvignon Blanc because there's a big potential. So same thing. So to explore program bottles here for you guys to experience. So pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool. That I learned so much with that pack, and it was affordable, and yeah, really enjoyed
$162 all in,
including tax.
Including tax, pretty darn good. Ontario shipping is at what? Is it free shipping for?
Let me just double check. So we have
free shipping for 12, that's for sure.
Free shipping for 12 in Ontario, 6 to 11 bottles. It's 15 for Ontario and 25 elsewhere, which is still reasonable given that shipping rates have gone skyrocketed.
Way the fuck up. Like, excuse my language.
And if you like, what I like to think about is, if I ever order groceries in, the grocery store will charge me $15-20 to deliver my groceries. And so to have wine to my door for $15, I don't find that too outrageous. But yeah, here is the link for anyone curious to know more.
Yeah. There's my tasting notes on all of these wines, except the three Explore. That's the winery tasting notes. But you got my tasting notes, my score, every single bottle on that pack. That was another thing that was pretty impressed with. It's every single bottles on that pack had got a 90 points from me. I didn't go as high as 94 or 93 like some of the other writer went on the Rusty Shed and the Gravity, but I'm at 91, 92. The three bottles of the 3 and 3 levels all got 90 because the value proposition, especially for the Riesling and the Chardonnay, at under $20 are like pretty hard to beat. The quality, it's bang on, absolutely bang on. So great score. Nothing skyrocket like top high 90s, but you know what? Like we're at 91, 90, 91, 92 points for all of these wines. The price are great. I think you just mentioned solid wines.
Yeah.
It's like above average, solid for each and every varietal. So well done, team Flat Rock. And also one little more thing about Flat Rock before we move on and talk about some of the big line for our Ontario and Niagara trip. So Flat Rock is Allison Finley is the winemaker, but they also have a winemaker consultant, the consultant winemaker who worked with Flat Rock for decades, helped them start from the beginning. His name is David Shepard. Dave Shepard is one, if not the.
Well, he's done over 40 vintages now in Niagara. I think 42.
Yeah, he's known. Like when you talk to Ontario wine people, Dave Shepard is as known as like the Prime Minister. Everyone knows the name Dave Shepard. This year, last year, 2021, he was named Winemaker of the Year again. So Dave have his stamp on every of these wines. He oversees everything that Allison's do. But Allison's work with him. It's Allison's mentor, and everything winemaking at Flat Rock goes through Dave Shepard. So yeah, one of the biggest name in the wine industry.
Yeah, and the other great thing is they have a phenomenal culture. So after every vintage, the team puts together a sculpture like this in the vineyard.
The harvest team.
Yeah, well, the whole team, I think.
Oh, the whole team.
Yeah, because they have a great culture. And you can sense that. You can sense that from the kind of customer service you get. You can sense that from how people treat you as you come into the winery and stuff like that. And so we sense that. We can tell they have a really healthy, vibrant culture. They're really enjoying what they're doing, and it's a passion. And you're going to see that in the wines. You're going to see the wines are an amazing expression of that terroir and just a great experience. So, yeah.
So
now, when are we going to this amazing place, Carl Boucher?
Yes, we are, because our flight tickets are booked. Our flight tickets are booked. Our place to stay is booked. So Carl's Wine Club is going on the road, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir, Carl's Wine Club members. On peut même le dire en français à tous nos amateurs de vin francophones de l'Est du pays. Carl's Wine Club sera sur la route. On s'en va à Niagara au mois de juin, du 20 juin au 30 juin. On va être là en personne pour un tour de Niagara avec les membres. So yeah, a members tour, if we can call it that way, right, Mira?
Yes. So we need your ideas. If you have any fun ideas that we should be doing, we are going to start planning that right away. For sure, on June 24th, it's a Friday. We want to take over Bellaterra Vineyards. They were our #1 Members' Choice Winery for Ontario this year that you guys voted on. And so we want to take over that winery Friday the 24th.
Well, not that we want to. We will. We already have the agreement with Bellaterra. They booked the whole pond. Like the tent in the back, it's already reserved for Carl's Wine Club members party on Friday, June the 24th. This is in the book, even at Bellaterra. I had a call with Lou and Marcel today. They want to start to brainstorm which kind of party we want to throw.
Yeah. So we need your ideas. We need your thoughts on like what would be great. And then of course we keep thinking, well, what else? Because what if we rented a bus for a couple days and we take you guys with us as we tour Niagara, because we get some pretty phenomenal tours sometimes when we go, and just an amazing perspective. So it would be really cool to have a bunch of Carl's Wine Club members with us. Oh, Vicky says we need a wine club dinner at Treadwell's. Is that the place you went to with Marcel and Lou, Treadwell's? That fancy restaurant?
So Treadwell, I went there. You remember when I went with Lou, and Lou and Marcel took me out one night for dinner when I was in Niagara. That was at Treadwell. It's in St. Catharines. A fantastic fine dining dinner restaurant right downtown St. Catharines. Phenomenal. So I think that's Treadwell, if I remember correctly what Vicky's saying. So
yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome, Vicky.
Good.
Yeah, and then I don't know if there is an appetite for things like getting a bus so that you guys don't have to find your own way around. And oh, it's not in St. Catharines. Okay,
oh, that's not the one I was thinking. Sorry.
Then we'll look it up. We'll find out. But yeah, we could do something like that where we can split a bus and go all the way around, maybe to 4 or 5 destinations. But they wouldn't be like, bus tour style tastings. They would be more like Carl's Wine Club style tastings. We get to meet people and get the behind the scenes and really get the cool stories, as well as maybe some very special wines. I don't know. But there's
that's exactly it. I think that's what I'm envisioning. Maybe we do 4 wineries that day, and having a on Niagara on the Lake. I think you're right, Vicky. Yeah, anyway.
But there's power in our group going together. I think we can get a really cool experience if we kind of bound together for a day or two. So
because I know that Adnan and Elie Faisal wants to see us. I know that. I know that that Karen Hurst and Grant Westcott really, really, really wants to see us. So there's many places who would like. So how can we maximize and take you guys with us for some pretty darn cool experience? So,
and Vicky's saying only for a day, and yeah, that's kind of what we found, 4 or 5 at the absolute most, because we don't do tastings like I think a lot of people might experience. We end up talking to the winemaker and the owner and getting their story and going in behind the scenes and going to the vineyard, and it's really fun. And you end up maybe cracking a bottle or two that is pretty special side by side some of the others. So yeah, it's really, really fun, and not to be rushed to be like, oh, we got to get to the next one in half an hour, right?
I truly believe that for that kind of experience, we need 2 hours, at least 2 hours to 2.5 hours per location. If we want to accomplish, if we want to hit deep into the story, because like you just mentioned, where are we going to select? Where are we going to go? It's not going to be it's not going to be a regular tasting room. It's going to be a tasting room tasting. It's not going to be that kind of tasting. It's going to be the full-on behind-the-scene vineyards, barrels. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. So let's see what we can put together. A trip of a lifetime. Carl's Wine Club is on the road first edition, because it's the first one of many, we believe. So, and the one on the 24th is going to be at the Winery of the Year, Ontario Winery of the Year, first edition. We're going to have the Carl's Wine Club members red served, and with many other things. Like I know that Lou and Marcel are really, really excited about having the whole crew over. So yeah, we're going to be there for 10 days. So we're going to be in Niagara for what, 8 days, Mira? 7 days. 7 days.
Yeah, so we get in on the Monday, we leave on the following Monday morning, and then we'll be in Toronto for almost 2 days. So
yeah, baseball game, Red Sox, Blue Jays. Yes, here we are. Here we come.
Let's meet up at a Red Sox and Blue Jays game.
Yeah, so that's part of it. But so that's one part. But the fun part also
Yeah.
On the other side, in May, because we had the Ontario Winery of the Year, Bellaterra, but the BC Winery of the Year, that was 3 nominees. It was Intersection, there was Black Market, and Corsolan. And in a tight race, Black Market Wine Company won the BC Winery of the Year. So we were kind of like debating when should we do something for the BC people. And we end up deciding go for something in May. So we decided that, and I think is the...
So we're just finalizing that. It'll probably be the 20. Let's see. I think is it the 27th or the 3rd of June? We're not getting into June, right?
Anyway, Marcel, so the fun part of that is we're tagging that with the visit of Marcel Morgenstern and Lou Puglisi. Lou is the owner at Bellaterra. So they wanted to come visit Western Canada for a while. We've been talking about it for a while. So Lou and Marcel booked their, and Fred, the winemaker, booked their ticket to be part of the BC party. So that's going to be fun to have the BC Carl's Wine Club members party at Black Market and have our people from Bellaterra from Ontario part of the party. So it's going to be a meetup with our people from Ontario here in BC. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Totally. I'm just checking the date just to be sure here. So,
I have the date on my phone, so
the week of May 30th. Yeah, so it would be June 3rd.
June 3rd
Friday,
will be
Friday, June 3rd.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Friday, June 3rd. Yeah, and then 3 weeks later, 3 Fridays later, we'll be doing the same thing but out east. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. So fun time coming for Carl's Wine Club members, because I believe, and I'm an optimistic, and I believe that we are trending the right way. COVID obstacles are getting out of the way, and slowly we're going to start to live a little bit more in normalcy. Slowly we're going to start to meet in person with our members. So I can't wait to get there. And we're starting to plan May, June, July. And also for you guys, if you guys are planning to come to Western Canada, you guys let us know your date, because we're going to plan also our schedule around our members visiting in the area. So.
Yes, Vicky, no 6th wave, please, is what I'm saying. Because this was the 5th wave? Yeah, so let's hope this is it. This is, Oh, Vicky's coming out in October. October is such a great time to be out here because you don't get the crowds, but it's still gorgeous. Like we were swimming for Thanksgiving weekend last October. It was amazing.
Were we?
Last October we weren't living here yet, but so not this last October, but the one before.
Oh yeah. When we were at La Casa on the other side.
At La Casa, yeah. I'm not
we
sure.
were not swimming in the lake. We had
we had a heated pool, but still, it was pleasant.
Yeah. So
and then the other thing we need your ideas on are swag items, because I thought, well, if we are going to be meeting up, maybe we should all have like a demarcation feature, a shirt of some sort. And of course we have this fabulous shirt Carl has. I don't have it nearby, but it has bottle images all over. It's like the tacky tourist shirt. And I thought maybe we should do that, but with all the bottles that we featured this last year. And it'd be like the Carl's Wine Club tacky tourist shirt.
Yeah. There's many things we can
Mario DeRosa's on. He's having 2014 5-Rose Syrah. Very nice. Mario, let me show you a Syrah we picked up today. Look at this, baby.
Also a 2014.
Yes, a 2014 Time Syrah from the Okanagan. 5-Rose, is that Ontario?
I believe so. So yeah, so here we are, an hour and 15 minutes in. So good job, Mira Boucher.
Way to go, Carl Boucher. So great to see you guys.
So
Yes, Five
great.
Roses in Ontario. See, another one we got to look into. There's so many great wineries out there. We're so excited to find them all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you guys have any suggestion of Ontario wineries that we should think about featuring, let us know. We're not we don't have boots on the ground there, so always open to listen to your suggestion.
Yes, we also need suggestions around Syrah Day, February 16th. Syrah Day, we're going to taste 20 to 30 Syrahs live, like we have in the past. It's going to be fun. And Jean-Denis just asking, can you tell us what is the next wineries in the coming weeks? So, yes, great question. Next week,
we are going to the very famous Naramata Bench. So we're going to be Central Okanagan. We're going to be right outside of Penticton, BC, the Naramata Bench. We're going to feature Moraine. Moraine Winery was named in the top 10 little family-owned wineries by Wine Line. After Wine Line. After the Wine Line wine competition this year, they made it to the top 10 small winery. So we're gonna do Gewürztraminer. We're gonna do a super fun rosé from Pinot Noir and Gamay, also a Pinot Gris, and we're doing a Syrah. Oh, it's fantastic! A Syrah, a Cab Franc, a Meritage, and a Pinot Noir. So 4 reds, 4 whites, 8 different options from Moraine Naramata Bench. After Moraine, we are taking a week off for Syrah Day. So Syrah Day was going to be down the middle of the week. So we're taking a week off.
There may be that week the opportunity, just sort of a flash feature, to get some of those 5 liters that they recently found at
Tin Horn Creek back vintage 5 liters. We might starting to talk about
if they've arrived from their storage facility by then. We'll see.
I can tell that they have arrived today. So
they arrived today. You got the text message?
I get the text message.
That's awesome.
So this, and after the week off, we are going to, after Moraine, it's going to be Riverstone from Oliver, BC, Golden Mile. So we're going to do 2 rows.
Lisa, who was on tonight, Lisa and her husband Jared introduced us to that winery last summer.
Exactly. They came over for a night. Oh, sorry.
Bless you.
That's part of the blooper 2022.
Yeah.
So yeah, they took us there for a great tasting. Anyway, I fell in love with what they do. So Riverstone from the south of the Okanagan. We're gonna do rosé of Malbec, rosé of Syrah. We're gonna do also a Cab Franc, the Stone Throw, the Cornerstone. These are all Meritage style. So some cool stuff coming out from the south. So that's gonna be after our week off, after Moraine. And after that, I think we're going to be going into March. So we'll talk about March when a little later.
Awesome. Well, that's a wrap, I'd say, Carl Boucher. I think we got to get outside, see how much snow has fallen.
Yeah, we promised the kids to hit the lake for a skating session tonight, right? Like we've done in the last 4 or 5 nights.
If we can shovel it, let's go see.
Okay, so
all right.
Thank you very much, Mira Boucher. Thanks for your great stories about Flat Rock and all of your amazing research. So, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, all of you guys, wishing you a great rest of your evening. I'll see you next week.
Yay. Cheers. Have a great night.